So, Callum Gilchrist, part of Team Delaney now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear a bit about your story, obviously, before you got into real estate. And then since you've been in real estate, how's your pathway travelled to where you are now?
Yeah, so I'm Nelson bred, not born in Dunedin, but
Explains a couple of things.
Yes, as far as I can remember, I've always been here. Took a couple of years out in Wellington, Auckland, tried the university thing, not for me. I was quite good at music at school, as you know, and a lot of people know I play the bagpipes. Definitely a passion of mine. Played a few other instruments, clarinet, bass guitar, etc., but chose the bagpipes to be the one that I'd stick with. Whole family's involved, and we can elaborate a bit on that later. But yeah, took a couple of years out of Nelson, did university, didn't like it, pulled out. Obviously got a bit of a student loan debt out of that. Studied music, thought I wanted to be a music teacher, and I do some music teaching, but once I got there I realised how academic it was, and yeah, no.
Sounds like you love school, mate.
I liked school.
You liked school, not the academic side of it.
No, I was more into music and cultural stuff,
Yeah.
bit of socialising, that sort of thing. So I did fine at school, but got to uni and struggled, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I pulled out of that before I racked up any more debt. Went and taught bagpipes, actually professionally, at the age of 19, up in a couple of private schools in Auckland, King's College, etc. So scraped through life up there, met some great lifetime friends, but again, big cities weren't for me. Come back pretty quick. In between that, all of that, I worked at McDonalds to sort of support myself. Became a manager there pretty quick, 2009, and just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So travelled the world, similar to you, to be fair. I'm not quite a professional bagpiper because there's not much money in bagpiping, unfortunately.
You're bloody good at it, though. Let's be fair.
I'm fairly good.
Yeah, no, you're good. Back yourself, son.
Won a few, national titles and that sort of thing as an individual. Won a fairly big prize in Christchurch, and as a band, in a few bands I've been in, won a few national titles. So, yeah, I'm okay at the bagpipes and like to teach it. Travel the world. Played with the 6-time world championship pipe band from Canada, Simon Fraser University. So been to Canada 6 times, Germany, world championships in Scotland 6 times. So in between that, I worked at McDonalds to support myself. So McDonalds was good because I was a manager, so I wasn't on minimum wage. I could work as much as I want, or as little as I want. But obviously in the back of my head, I'm going, well, bagpiping is probably not going to support a family when I get one. So what am I going to do with my life? And so I actually did 6 years there, off and on.
Was that local McDonald's?
Yep. So
both Nelson, Richmond, Tahuna?
Nelson, Richmond, Tahuna. I worked at all 3.
Oh, wow.
And in town, in Wellington when I was at uni. So I've worked at 4 different McDonald's. Never hated that job. I think it's a great career path for people to gain some skills, especially in management. They do good training programs, and I actually learnt a lot of stuff that I didn't realise would be important in real estate. But obviously the money, never going to support a family and live the way that I wanted to live by doing that. So
so you did that for 6 years, learned a lot of skills, which we'll talk about in a minute. How'd you go from manager at McDonald's to jumping into real estate? How did that happen?
Yeah, so myself and my partner Kate, we were looking for a home to buy, and had saved up a deposit enough to buy a house, and actually come across you. Funnily enough, we saw our house come up, 6 Stephen Street in Stoke, and pretty sure Kate contacted you, and we saw the property that day. Went through with you, and we had a bit of banter through text messages and that sort of thing in the process of buying it. And you sort of said to me, look, I think you should get into real estate. I think you'd be pretty good.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Sitting in the office, in the Richmond office, we were doing your contract, I remember that, and then we did everything that we had to do with that, and then we had a bit of a chat after that about, you know, what you do and what you wanted to do. I said, mate, you've got all the skills.
Yeah.
All the skills.
Yeah.
Come and give it a crack.
Yeah, and I guess for me, it was the second time someone had said that. One of Kate's best friends used to work as marketing manager at Summit, and she had said a couple of times, look, you need to get into this. Obviously, she could see the earning potential and the different people that and the skills that were required to make it work. I didn't really believe her, but it wasn't until you said it. So the second person had said it. I was like, okay, well, I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm not earning as much money where I am.
Yes.
I wasn't unhappy.
And at that stage, you didn't have family?
No.
That was just yourself and Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much to your demise, I actually went to the Stoke office and applied for a job there through Ben Nalder, just because it was closer, and I knew that they had an advertisement on the window.
Yeah, they were recruiting, weren't they, at that point? Yeah.
So I messaged Ben and said, look, can I come in and have a chat?
Yeah.
And so went in and had a chat with Ben, and you know he was probably actually sceptical, to be fair, to start with, because I've got a bit of a monotone, as you can tell.
Wake up, would you?
yeah. And I mean, I was too. I had no idea whether it was going to be good or not. My thing was, I'm not pushy. Like the real estate agents I'd met, some of them were nice people. Some of them like quite pushy.
Yeah.
A bit sleazy, too slick, and I was like, I'm just not that. I just don't know if I can do that, and I didn't realise that the most important skill was actually the people skills, looking after people, and so I actually had all the skills, and I didn't realise it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot of people, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went in with Ben, and because I had a bit of a recommendation from person that had worked there, he sort of gave me the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he was sort of jumping out of his skin. But once I got on the phone and wanted and needed to do some cold calls and that sort of thing, suddenly I could turn it on and we're away.
Yeah, so your initiation into real estate was through Ben and through a recruitment program, and he did that with you and a group of others.
Yes.
I think there was about 6 of you at that point.
A great crew of people.
You're good friends with all of them still.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool in its own right. But you guys did some pretty thorough training, and you could say it was quite brutal at times.
It was brutal.
You know, it really made the agents who went through that, they sort of were made or broken through that process.
Yes.
And I think all bar one have made it pretty successfully.
Yes.
Which is an amazing outcome.
Yeah.
Just give us a little brief rundown of what you guys used to do in your initiation, if you want to call it that, into real estate.
Yeah. So Ben was amazing.
Yeah.
He cared for us, and we know that it's hard getting started, especially when you don't necessarily have a database, that sort of thing. And we were younger, so we didn't know as many people. We weren't in that golden age like yourself of real estate, where everyone already owns a house, etc. So we came in and we actually did quite a bit of cold calling within the limits of what you can, not being an agent. To prospect for other agents in the office.
That's right.
And so, every second week we'd do 2 hours of solid cold calling. God, I was absolutely packing myself to do that. I'd sit in the car before I came and, oh my God, what am I doing? But then you realise, well, this is what I need to be doing when I get my job. So just pull yourself together.
I have a little quick story about initiation in real estate. I remember, when you first start out, they give you the rundown on, you should be doing cold calling, door knocking, nurturing your database, emailing, warm calls, cold calls, all those things, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to get myself out of my comfort zone, just like you were, obviously, with cold calling, and went door knocking.
Yes.
And everything I've ever done has been warm. People come to me, and door knocking would just freaked me out, to be fair. You had to go to a house that you didn't know the person, knock on their door and have a chat.
Yes.
And some people just don't want to see you.
Yep.
They don't want to see you. And some people, you know, are quite vicious, you could say.
Yep.
And I remember the first couple of people I talked to from a door knock were okay. The third was a little bit rough. The fourth was very rough, and that was me done.
Yeah.
I knocked on 4 doors.
Yes.
And I've never knocked on a door since.
Yeah.
All right.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky, very lucky. But let's go back to you. I mean, you did cold calling 2 hours for 2 weeks, non-stop,
Yeah.
for over a period of 6 months.
Yeah, till we're ready to. Yeah.
Till you're allowed to go out
Yeah.
and get into it. I mean, that's a lot of people you talked to. You had no idea who they were, and you had to keep them on the phone
Yeah.
to talk to them about A, who they are, B, you know, were they making a real estate decision, and try and secure the business. And it wasn't even securing the business for you.
No.
It was securing the business for someone, other
Yeah,
agent.
exactly.
Yeah.
But that was exciting.
It's the skills, right?
Yeah, it's
Skills.
the skills. This exciting thing is that the goal was to sort of get maybe 3 appraisals during that 2-hour period.
Yeah.
And they didn't have to be selling, you know, now. They could be in 10 years, didn't matter. Just get the agent in the door, which was the main thing, get halfway there. And so the exciting thing was that if that agent secured that listing and they sold it, I'd get $500.
Right.
And I was like, that's my entire week's paycheck at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is awesome. I was like, so is that what I'll get, you know, when I get into real estate? Oh, you get a bit more than that. So, okay. So that's what sort of, you know, kept me going through the, you know, knowing that eventually I'd be, if I, you know, got good at it, I'd be able to support my family a lot more than what I'd be able to where I was.
So that was your initiation into real estate, doing that training with Ben. Then where did you go to from there? Because obviously you've stayed with Summit, and then you went to...
We actually moved to the town office because
Nelson office.
Yeah, Ben took over the management in there.
Yeah.
And so
you're out on your own then, right?
Yep. And it was trial by fire basically. Like I was like, you walk in the office and you've got your desk and it's literally a desk.
Yeah.
You got a phone. You get everything, you know, supplied to you by Summit. So it's pretty awesome. But it was very much like, okay, what do I do now?
That's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. You walk in the office
like,
the first day.
Go out and get a listing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you do there? You go door knocking.
So I went door knocking.
I mean, I've heard plenty of stories from you about your door knocking. I mean, I can't give you enough credit for you door knocking, man. It's just...
Yeah. Look,
it takes a special talent.
I definitely didn't enjoy it. But, you know, Ben was encouraging and just said, no, you're good at this. Yeah. You're just going to keep going. But it's very much, you're doing something that you feel like you're putting a bit of pressure on other people. So it's about not putting the pressure on, having a style where they don't feel confronted. And if you can have a joke with them and just say, look, you know, and be sort of frank about them. Look, I'm that annoying real estate agent. I'm knocking on your door. I want to sell your house. You know, and you're just so sort of like upfront, but not in a pressure way. They have a laugh and they actually sit back.
Yeah.
And one thing I used to do a lot was like, I see you've got you've a view through that, you know, because I was door knocking around the hills.
Yeah.
So they'd open the door and be like,
so they made it really easy for your age. New boy on the block, door knocking, and up the hills.
Great view out there. And they're like, oh yeah, come have a look.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm in the door, and then you're away.
Yeah.
So, but it's.
So you door knocked a lot of houses.
Yep.
You started to get traction, in the Nelson office, and you started to do very well on your own right.
Yeah.
So timeline now. How long have you been in real estate now?
In a couple of weeks, I'll be starting into my 4th year.
Yeah. So coming into your 4th year.
Yeah.
So year one was. Well, how was year 1, year 2, year 3? How did things progress?
Look
to where you are now.
Yeah, for me, just going a step back, when I started in real estate, we just found out that Kate was pregnant.
Yeah.
So kind of like you, I was leaving a job that I guess is secure.
Yeah.
But didn't pay a lot. But I had a kid on the way. We'd just bought our house.
Yes, you had.
So we had a mortgage. I had 20K of car loan debt. I still had my 15K student loan debt. I had credit cards that were filling up from all my travel.
You're just a young bloke who
I was in
lived life, right?
I was in a reasonable amount of debt. Some of it good, some of it bad.
Yeah.
So I basically had, we had 2 months from when I got my license, where, Kate and I agreed. It was like, you need to have made a couple of sales in that time, because we're going to run out of money and you have to go back to McDonald's kind of thing. So it was like very much, it has to work.
Yeah.
You have to. So I was in there 6 a.m. starting before anyone else and out, 9 p.m. sometimes. And none of that would be actually making any money. It was all building the business and working out how I could.
And I guess the beauty of Summit is when you start off and you don't have the listings, you still have the opportunity to go and sell other agents' listings.
And that's
because
how
we work as that team.
Yep.
And I remember you fondly.
Yes.
Selling a number of my listings.
Yes.
Which was awesome. No, there's nothing to be sorry about, because my vendor's got great prices, all right? Because you did a stellar job.
Yep.
And that's what got me straight away thinking, I can keep an eye on this guy.
Yes.
Because there was always aspirations for myself to grow my team.
Yep.
And we kept a close eye on you. And you had a pretty steep curve upwards in your career from a rookie. And was it in year one? Yeah, obviously it was year one. You got Summit's Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
That in its own, because you were in amongst all that group that started at the same time.
And they were all very good.
They all were, and they've all done very well.
They're very good.
So to be at the top of that peak just showed not only me, but it should have showed yourself that you've got the goods to succeed in real estate.
Yeah.
So kudos to you, my man, from being a young chap and putting in the hard yakka to succeed. So then from there, that was year one. Year two?
Year two was hard.
Yeah, quickly talk about year two, because I know it was tough.
Yeah. So obviously come off the heights of being Rookie of the Year and making it into the Champions Club, which is obviously the top sort of 10 performers on sale numbers. So that was really, really cool. But how could I back it up, and how could I keep going? Because obviously we now did have a child actually in in our house, so we all know expenses go up and that sort of thing. So goes the money. But one thing that was said to me right from the start was, as soon as you can afford to take on some assistance, do it, because although you might take a step back to start with while you build that team, you'll take 2 or 3 steps forward eventually. So knowing that it might, put a bit of a strain on us, Kate actually came on board, obviously my partner, and...
How long have you been with Kate for?
Here we go, Glyn.
Here's a personal question.
Almost 8.5 years.
Yep.
You
engaged?
No.
There you go, Kate.
Be.
I've got that in there for you, Kate.
Yep. She'll be watching. We should be, to be fair.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I'm not going to propose over a podcast.
No pressure, right?
No pressure. So that second year was hard. Income definitely dropped, and that's at risk reward in real estate.
Totally.
If you're not performing, then your income's directly impacted. I'm going to lie, we were fine.
Yeah.
But it was a struggle through that year.
Yeah.
And probably market started to change a wee bit.
It was sort of teetering, wasn't it?
Yeah, starting to teeter. Yeah. But there were a lot of questions being asked, and that first year where it's all going really well and really confident, and then you start to doubt yourself a wee bit. Missing a lot of listings and wondering why, and those things that every real estate agent goes through.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
But definitely, I think if it wasn't for Summit, obviously Kate, yourself, and just saying, look, just keep going. Yeah. It was all about trying to build towards year 3, year 4, year 5, and just trying to keep that in mind.
It's a long time, right?
Yeah.
It's not all just done in 1 year.
Yeah.
So you just got to hang in there. Because just like anything, the property market goes in cycles.
Yeah.
And there's always peaks and troughs no matter what commission role you're in. And I think it's a testament to you that you got through that, because I know it wasn't the easiest time for yourself and Kate and the family at that point, but you dug in, stuck at it. And then what happened after that?
So I think it was probably April, May last year. Yeah. After my second full year in real estate, that you said, I think I was coming into the office to sell another one of your listings, and you said, look, come have a chat. And I thought, this is interesting. I kind of had a feeling, maybe I know what this is about. Maybe he's going to ask me to either come to the Richmond office or do something with yourself. So I was hoping that would be the case. Yeah. And yeah, it was. So I felt pretty honoured. Yeah. Shoot, the top performer in Summit, and to be fair, and Nelson Tasman wants me to work with him. So, geez, God, it was a couple of years. I mean, it was only a couple of years since I left McDonalds, and I thought, oh well, this is probably the change and that I needed at that point.
Yeah, totally.
And where I wanted to go in real estate, obviously, is to try and get to the top. But I knew with my passion and my addiction to bagpipes and pipe bands and family life that I wasn't going to be able to maybe do everything. Mm-hmm. So working in a team meant for me, meant that not only I was going to learn off you and you were going to learn off me, and we were going to have a great time doing it. Yeah. Was going to be able to balance that with my other parts of my life and keep my pipe banding going, because I think I'd be lost without it. Yeah, well,
your pipe band's your passion.
Yeah.
It's like golf's my passion.
And that's the thing, is we want to get you back out there on the golf course a bit more, and that's part of it as well. Yeah. And I think that's where real estate is heading, as teams. But it's not just about us. Yeah. I think it's actually about our clients and being able to service our clients better than someone that's on their own. Yeah. Because burnout's a real thing. Yeah. And I think people with even over 5-6 listings, if they're not efficient, can just work themselves ragged on their own. Yeah. And you get to the weekends, and you're meant to be performing at an open home, and you're absolutely
out on your feet.
Out on your feet. So you and I have this, system where we get days off, we get weekends off, we can go and do pipe band, do golf, and then when we come back to work, we're fresh. And we're performing for our clients.
Exactly. So that's basically where we are today, at Team Delaney. So that's your story. Yep. And to today. All right. So good job.